All right. So here is an additional video for those of you who want to maybe add a little bit more elements to our design. And I just want to show you how we can kind of customize it and add a little bit more pizzazz. Or just different elements that you can play with. Um, as you can see here, one of the things, like I'm moving things with my black arrow tool and I'm trying to move this title up. Do you see how it is going behind the picture? Well, you can adjust that so you can actually go to Object, Arrange, and you can bring the object that's selected to the front. Okay, and so adding it can allow me to, I want to make sure that butterfly peeks through a little bit. Um, Adding it allows me to maybe do kind of like a little tight treatment where it looks like the hello is kind of interacting with the background. So here is, you know, me putting the type on top of the picture. Okay. Another thing that I know some students always ask about is how to create a background color. Um, and so, one of the things that you can do might be kind of simple, but you're going to create a rectangle. And I did that using my rectangle tool. And if you look at that shape and you click and look at your swatches, and even down here, you'll see that the fill has a red stripe on it. That means none. And the stroke has a red stripe on it. That also means none. Well, you can actually add color to that. And right now, the fill is 100% right here. And the stroke is at none. Well, what I can do is I can actually adjust this so it's maybe 10%, right? So it's a baby blue, um, or I can make it a gray color. Um, and then similar to, how I want to arrange this background color, I want to obviously put it in the back. So I will select it with my black arrow tool and I will go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Okay, so right now you will see that that big shape is behind all of the different elements so far on my page. Okay, um, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this allows you to add a background. You have full control over the background, so you can actually adjust your rectangle. So maybe you don't want it to be all the way across, right? You can only just do it halfway. Or you can select this rectangle and you have the option of tilting it. So here's a, right here, up here is where you can insert a rotation manually, right? If you were looking for something that's specifically 45 degrees, select the object and then insert your angle. Or I'm just doing Command Z. Or you can select the object and watch what happens when I put my cursor near the corner. Do you see how it kind of bends a little bit? That allows me to just adjust it using my trackpad or mouse. Okay. And even though, like, it's kind of like popping, like breaking the boundaries over here, I'm gonna save it. And when I go to change my view, just kind of see what it looks like, this is what that looks like right now. Okay. So you are able to adjust it, move it, um, which is, you have more freedom in InDesign than, let's say, Word, because you can break, add color to the outside shapes, and you can have your design bleed across. Um, Another cool thing is, for each of your tools, if you look, you will see a little triangle on some of the tools. Well, if you hold that triangle down, you'll see a submenu, and you can actually have a circle. So if you hold down your shift key while you're dragging, it will make a perfect circle. The same will apply if you are dragging your rectangle and you want a perfect square. Hold down your shift key while you click and drag, and then you can copy, Command C, paste, Command V. Okay. Um, you can select these objects, and maybe you want them to be lined up um, at the top so they're all aligned right here in your top menu bar. um, you have the ability to align the top edges. You also, if you want to play around with all of these, it will actually adjust things so they're even without having you to kind of line it up and zoom in. But, you know, all of this is kind of a process. So just kind of play around with this. Um, the reason why I put those shapes in here, right? Um, was because I wanted to put a photo in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object, and I'm going to go File, Place. I'm going to find that photo that I processed. So if you want, you can use the same image. Maybe you can process, 3 or 4 images, um, and do this. Um, this also reminds me that I'm going to show you guys a trick really quick. I'm going to select that middle square. You guys see that? I'm selecting the middle square, and I'm going to place the image. There it is. Now, as you can see, it's very big in that space, right? So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to show you 2 ways you can size the image to that box. If I zoom out, so I command minus a fair amount so I could see like the boundaries of that image. Um, and I'm going to hold down my shift key and adjust it so it sizes down. Okay, it's one option of how to manipulate the photo so it sizes into that space. Or, and I'll do it with this last one, go to File, Place, and that same image. And I'm going to, it's selected. Instead of, clicking the center, I'm going to go to Object, Fitting, and I'm going to say Fit Content Proportionally. Okay, and that saves you the added steps of zooming in, zooming out. If you know that the majority of the image is kind of what you want, it kind of helps make it less kind of cumbersome. Right? And then you can Command S, save your progress. Um, Another thing that is pretty cool in InDesign is you have the ability to customize lines and bars, and they're called rules or strokes. So do this two ways. There's a line tool, select it, click and you drag. I'm holding down my shift key and it allows it to be like it will create a straight line. If I don't hold down my shift key, I can have it, I can adjust the angle. But if I hold down my shift key, it will be straight. Okay. So as we saw in our fill and our stroke, the line currently has, right here, I'm selecting it. The line has no fill and no stroke. So to add a stroke, select, here's the fill, here's the stroke. I'm going to select it so it's, the stroke icon is up in front of the fill, and I'm going to add a color to it. So I'm going to bring in black color there. And I actually want to make it a dotted line. So here, if I select here, this is the weight of my line. The higher the weight, the thicker the line. And also right below it are your different line options. So you can have a thick, thin line, a thin, thick, thin line. And some of these, it's probably more visible when you make them a heavier line. You also can do a diamond, or I'm a sucker for dots. Who doesn't love dots? Okay. Right. So those are a couple of things that you can do to add to your layout, right? A new color, putting things up in front or behind each other, your lines. Um, if you are interested in playing around more with your type, okay? Um, so I'm going to, so this is for the super duper advanced or extra curious of you. I'm going to select this, and with the type tool, so I've selected the box, and if you go up to your menu, it's not on here, but I know where it is. So I'm going to go to Window, I'm going to go to Type and Tables, and I'm going to go to Paragraph. Okay, so this controls the different characteristics of your paragraph. So I do not want anything to hyphenate, or you want something to hyphenate, you check or uncheck that box. So unchecked, no hyphenation. Checked, it hyphenates. Also right here is, for those of you who like drop caps, like it actually will insert a drop cap. This number here represents the number of lines your capital will drop. Okay. Right here, this actually allows you to control the number of characters that will drop. So, if you have a dramatic beginning to something, the word, that short word is very important to you. You can actually have all of them drop cap. Okay, so those are things that InDesign actually offers.